Platforms. Hello, everybody. Welcome. You know what? We're going under the moniker of Contracting Chatter for this platform. I would normally do this under Contracting Conversations. Anyway, this masterclass is on the benefits of government contracting. So, just give us a minute. We're supposed to start at 6 o'clock. I like to start at 6 o'clock sharp. Because as we know, government contracting is all about being on time. Hey, Miss Kelly, how are you doing? So, this platform essentially, we talk about all things business and government contracting. We have enough political punditing around here. So, I focus on the business aspects of what is going on. I pull out the business opportunities. Hold on, everybody else. You know what? I didn't set up my laptop correctly, so I probably end up re-recording this live for the vault, but that's okay. Anywho, so I focus on the business aspect of everything. The president's um, address at the beginning of the year, I pulled out what businesses should be looking for. We have the budget coming through, the FY25 budget. I pull out the business aspects. Contracting chatter focuses purely upon what businesses should look at and how you can, one, strengthen your business position, two, pivot your business, or three, pull your business out of a downward spiral. That is what contracting chatter is for. Why is it called contracting chatter? Because my niche focus is government contracting. It does not mean it cannot be useful information for you if you're not a government contractor. It just means that my niche focus is government contracting. That is all. My name is Luciana Turner. I am the founder and the CEO of the LT&A Consulting Group. We bridge the gap in government contracting. We are a boutique consulting and training firm. What does that mean? In essence, we complete the conversation. Simply put, we fill in the knowledge gap and we empower our clients. Because what we want to see our clients walk away with is knowledge that they didn't have. We fill in those holes because a lot of times businesses are failing because they are trying to do everything on their own. And let me tell you, as I'm celebrating 10 years in business, the biggest mistake I ever made was trying to do it solo. And once I learned that lesson and got help, one, I got in community with other business owners. It makes a difference. Two, I got help. It makes a huge, huge difference. So let's get on to the topic of the evening, the benefits of government contracting. Now, the purpose of tonight's live is simply put, it's a masterclass. And in this masterclass, we're going to focus on why you should consider government contracting. What is government contracting? And the benefits of government contracting. So I said, what is government contracting? The benefits of it, because a lot of people don't even understand what government contracting is. And why should they even consider it? And if you notice me writing, that's because I always make notes. Government contracting is simply this. The government has a need for services. And the government has two options. They can either hire additional employees, which means the government is expanding in size, or they can hire out either a person or a entity or a business to perform that work. That is government contracting in a nutshell. And the vehicles in which they do government contracting, we're not going to go through contracting vehicles. We'll be here all night. Because as simple as it is, the way these vehicles operate and function varies. And the vehicles they choose is based upon the risk that the government wish to assume. Good, hello, everyone who's entering the room. You know how we do. You know how we were raised. Say hello. You know how we were raised. As we enter a room, say hello. So hello to everybody who's entering the room. And let me speak to my other platform and take my own advice. So the contracting vehicle the government chooses is based upon the level of risk the government is willing to assume. Period, point blank. And the level of risk means this. The government is risk averse, which means the more the government trusts you, the contract vehicle changes. And you will see the contract vehicles change depending upon the contract value and which government entity you're dealing with or government agency you're dealing with, simply put. And it's just like any relationship. Why should the government trust you? You're a stranger. You know, we're just going to keep this plain. And something about me, I keep things plain. I'm a little off the cuff, a little special, but I keep things plain. I try to keep my language plain. I do lapse into government-ese from time to time. So if I'm dropping terminology you don't understand, just drop it in the chat and say you dropped in the government-ese, pull it back. And I'll do that because this is a masterclass and that's what we're here for. Why you should be a government contractor? Simply put, you want to work with the largest client you can work with, and that is the government. Whether it's the federal government or your local government, it is the largest client you will ever work for and never work with. That is the why of why you want to do government contracting. Now, hey, Patty. Another why, which is also a benefit of government contracting, is to, and I'm segue into the benefits. Thank you. It'll, one, stabilize your business. Companies, now, if I lose TikTok, I'm also live on my YouTube stream, and my YouTube channel is LT&A Consulting Group. You can get the channel in my link. When I say stabilize your business, the companies who survived the Great Reset, and that's how I refer to the years between 2020 and 2022. I will not say the name because my live got shut down the other day by saying the name. We all know what that time period was called. Were businesses who did two things. They either were government contractors or they pivoted. Government contractors saw growth during that period. And I know some of you heard about, hey, Miss KT, some of you heard about government contractors receiving stoppages and work stoppages. The smart ones built stuff in. However, there were core work that existed within the government that must always continue. Therefore, there are government contracts that will always be awarded and that will always continue. As long as you have a diversified strategy, and when you work with me, you will always have a diversified strategy, you will always sustain and pivot anything that goes on. As I spoke about on Chatter this morning, there's $3 billion that was assigned to find and remove lead pipes. So if you're in construction, that's the first thing everybody thought about. Construction companies, do you not know if you're in surveying, if you're an architect, if you're in engineering, if you do surveys, if you do anything of that nature, part of that $3 billion is for you. Now, most people saw the $3 billion and said, I can't get a part of that. I'm going to show you how you can get a part of that. Because whether you get the $3 billion as a prime or a sub, part of that can be for you. Because they're not going to award $3 billion to one contractor. They're going to award $3 billion to multiple contractors. And it's not all going to be on the federal level. It flows down. It starts at the federal level and it allocates down to the states through various vehicles. That is the benefit of government contracting. And I'm going to segue into one of the pitfalls. A pitfall in the industry is people don't learn the industry. They're so busy running for the proposal, they don't even learn the rules of engagement. Respect the industry. If anybody have any questions, you can drop them in the chat. I do check the chat. You can, I'm not going to say inbox me because I am live on TikTok and I don't get your inboxes. Everybody else, you can drop your questions in my inbox and I'll get it. So drop your questions in the chat. I'm on 2 different devices, which is why I'm also swiveling my head. So walk with me, stay on the vehicle. We're riding together. We're in a caravan. Go with me. So the companies that survived the Great Reset were companies who either were government contractors, learned how to pivot, or entered government contracting. And those companies either pivoted because they got in community and said, what can we do? Or they were companies who engaged a consultant who said, this is how you can do it. You see where I'm going? You see where I'm walking? You have to learn how to pivot, and you have to know when the picture must stop trying to see the frame. One of the greatest quantum leaps I made in my business when I stopped trying to see myself. That's another conversation for another day. We're going to stay into the benefits of government contracting. Another benefit is scaling. Everybody gets to a point in your business where it seems like you cannot grow. There is let me finish this point and I'll answer your question, Sandy. Everybody gets to a point in their business where you feel like you can't grow. And that's not true. Government contracting is a way to exponentially grow your revenue. One contract can make a difference, and that is another benefit. It can take a failing business into a thriving business. Now, Sandy, not to coach you on live, but to coach you still. One of the problems with saying you want to work with DOD is that DOD is comprised of multiple sub-departments. So without understanding which department you want to work with, it can be frustrating to figure out how to surf through all of their procurements. It's really frustrating. Now, there's an initiative in government to streamline that process, but they're still figuring it out. They're still getting some of the kinks out. So without getting too much of your business on live, one, I would tell you to sit back and really focus in or hone in on what service or services you're offering. And then, because DOD is comprised of 20 departments, and then those departments have sub-departments. So depending upon which service you're offering, I then would go in to the Department of Defense and then go down and figure out which department would benefit from those services. Now, every agency has a small business liaisons office. Now, you know what? Let me back up to come forward again. What I would actually do is download their procurement forecast. That's what I would do. I would download the procurement forecast. And I believe DOD is one of the agencies that do a roll up. Now it's a top level, but you can go from top level and go down. And take that forecast and you can sort it because it downloads in Excel. And then I would sort it by the NAICE code that closely represents the service that I'm offering. Then I would go from there and then reach out to their small business liaisons officer. I would schedule an appointment to meet with that officer. That officer can then tell you which sub-agency you should get in touch with or which sub-agency you should follow. Now, the thing about DoD procurement, if your systems are not straight, and I mean your accounting systems, your policies and procedures, it's hard to get in DoD as a small business or a mid-sized business. So you have to be sure you're prepared to pass a desk audit, because every procurement in DoD has some form of a desk audit. You also have to be able to pass a DCAA audit, because all of DoD contracts are subject to DCAA. And for the audience, DCAA stands for Defense Contract Audit Agency. So if you're not audit ready, you need to get audit ready if you're talking about going after the Department of Defense contracts. Period. In the discussion. Now, if you want, because I just to really answer your question, I would have to ask you a whole lot of questions, and I don't want you to put your business information out on the internet, because your company proprietary information is something you should safely guard. So, but I hope that helped. Thank you. Keep asking more questions. As I said, I'm streaming on multiple platforms, so I'm answering questions everybody can't see. However, I'll repeat the question so that everybody knows what I'm answering. Something else about going after DoD contracts and finding opportunities. The larger the opportunity, the more research you need to do. I'm going to say this again. The larger the opportunity, the more research you need to do. And I'm saying this for this perspective. I'm a stalker. I stalked one contract. Yes, I offer coaching. There is a link, my schedule link. You can go there. I don't offer free consultations. However, if you decide to work with me, a portion of your consultation fee will go towards any service that you sign up for. I'm a stalker. My first government contract that I won, I initially lost that award when I went after it. I lost the contract. And I'm going to tell you, I and my team, our feelings were hurt when we lost that contract, because we were sure we had it. But can I tell you, I stalked that contract until it came back out again. I attended the debrief to find out why we lost it. And because they didn't, for that contract, they didn't do an individual debrief. So they just did a general debrief with all the people who bid on the contracts, and they just gave some general information. But let me tell you, I stalked that contract. And when it came available again, I was on it. The one thing you should not do in government contracting, and this is a pitfall that everybody falls in or tempted to fall into. Excuse me. I don't know why my asthma want to act up when I get on live. Excuse me. Get out of this notion that you need templates. You need standard responses. Moving on. You need standard responses. You don't want to do templates. I did not use any response for my first RFP, my first proposal. I didn't win it the first time with it, so why am I going to use it the second time? That was the first thing. I won that contract the second time around. So when I had the entrance conference with the contracting officer, he told me he remembered my company from when I bid on the contract the first time. Keep that in mind. The more you bid, the more you show up. Contracting officers remember you. So how you represent your business and how you show up online, that is why I use my real name online. That is why my company brand is consistent everywhere. They research you. How you show up, your contracting officers remember. The government contracting arena and the government contracting world is small. So how you show up makes an impression. I may not have won the first contract. However, rebidding, my proposal was tight, my pricing was tight, and the contracting officer remembered me from the first time I bid. Keep all of that in mind. Benefits of government contracting is the reputation that you build in the industry. Good or bad. It's up to you to decide which it is. It's up to you to decide if you're building a good a good reputation or a bad reputation. But you build one. And contracting officers remember that. And contracting officers talk. And one contract can lead to another, because you're building a contract reputation. Now, everybody's familiar with the capability statement. Okay, I'm going to say it in. A capability statement is essentially your company's marketing flyer. You will also build a business resume in government contracting. And your business resume is the same as your individual resume. It's just your business name on it. That lists out every single contract your business has worked on. Now, somebody's going to say, I don't have any government contracts. I've never done government contracting before. I'm at a disadvantage. Now, while you and your business are separate, you are not the same. You're not the same entity. You're two different people. For the purposes of government contracting and new contractors, your experience as a founder becomes your business experience for the purposes of proposal writing. And there are ways you can do that when bidding. I will help you do that if you decide to work with me. The purpose and the benefit of government contracting helps you build that resume. It helps you build your business resume, business reputation. You get where I'm going. Is this clicking with anyone? Does anybody else have any additional questions? Does this make sense? Once again, if you have a business that you're trying to find a direction for, perhaps the problem is who you're trying to work with. I know for the longest, and this is going to sound bad, but this is okay. working. Now, I have two businesses, LT&A Consulting Group, LT&A Government Solutions. Actually, I have three. LT&A Government Solutions and L. Turner Associates. The consulting group is where I consult with. Government Solutions is now my government contracting shop. LT&A Consulting Group.com is my website. LT&A Consulting Group is my website. So something came across my screen and it threw my whole train of thought. So let me check my notes. Stabilizing your business growth through government contracting is one of the greatest benefits that you will ever have in government contracting. So, what are some of the pitfalls in government contracting people have? As I said earlier, people don't respect the industry. You have to learn the rules. And there are people who always say it's too complicated. It's simplistic when you learn the rules. People come into government contracting not learning the rules, and then they want to say, it's hard. It's hard because you didn't take the time to learn the rules. Basically, that's all it was. You can't market in government. You can't market to the government the way you market B2B or B2C because of certain legislations that are in place, and that's also because of things that have happened historically. Because I'm a nerd and because I like for my clients to understand, I've actually dug into the legislative history for why certain things are the way that they are. So I can actually explain to my clients, because I want my clients to have understanding of why when you turn in paperwork, it's 45 pages long. I want you to understand why when you read certain proposals, some proposals are 10 pages, RFPs are 10 pages, excuse me. And some RFPs are 300 pages. I actually downloaded an RFP the other day that was 500 pages long. I'm sitting here toiling with my soul to decide if I want to read it, but a little bit on it. However, that RFP will make the difference between my business going to the next level or not. So I may not want to read it, but sister's going to get a pot of coffee and pull together my team and say, you take this part, you take this part, you take this part, and we're going to read it. I had a podcast episode come out today about proposal development, and we talked about building a team. And part of building a team is ferreting out the sections. I'm a geek. I like the finance part, so I usually tackle the budget. So once again, if you're doing business alone, this is the time to team build. And if you're saying I can't team build, I don't have the resources, I'm quite sure when you get finished sitting down with me, I will have pointed out about 15 different ways you could have built the team. Because when somebody did it for me, my feelings was hurt because I was sitting there telling myself I didn't have it. But when somebody else sat down with me, because I said I need help, they pointed out to me the 15 different ways I could have built a team. A lot of times we try to build businesses in isolation and we can't. And somebody is saying, what does this have to do with government contracting? Everything. One of my talks that I gave at a conference was about $1 Million Team, how I won and lost $1 million contract. It was because of the team. It was because of the team. You have to have $1 million team for $1 million contract. But that's another conversation for another day. I'm going to talk about that 3-part episode. Tune in for Contract and Chatter and tune into my podcast, Contractors Conversation. Any more questions before I go on to the next point? Okay. So I know at this point, because I've already been asked, somebody's like, do you work with people? Yes, I do. I am a consultant, as I opened this whole live up with. I assist business founders who want to enter government contracting. I assist business founders who want to develop strategies in their company. If you wish to work with me, now I'm opening up a new program called SustainAcore. It's a monthly subscription, $97 a month. For that $97 a month, you will receive training on developing systems. You will see trainings on how to bid for the government. Excuse me, TikTok, somebody's calling. Sorry. You will receive trainings on systems development, and then there are monthly Q&As that I will lead where you can come in and ask questions. Everybody can go to https://ltacg.as.me, and you will see the full description there. You will receive a monthly newsletter. You will receive special subscriber only lives. There are times I will go live and it'll just be for you guys, and you will be the only ones to ask questions. I will stream the live to everybody, but you will be the only ones in the room that can ask questions. And then there will be times that you guys will only get the lives. I have other trainings like decoding the RFP is a part of SustainAcore. That is how I show you how to break apart and request for the proposal or a grant proposal and how to read it. You can't respond to what you don't know how to read. I'm going to say it again. You can't respond to what you don't know how to read. Now, I'm going to go back into what I was getting ready to say. Somebody is saying reading an RFP is simple. Reading a grant request is simple. If it was that simple, the number one reason for people losing out on grants and contracts wouldn't be that they didn't answer the mail. I spoke to a contracting officer, and he gave me his top 2 pet peeves. 3. 1, people lose out on contracts because they don't answer the questions. They tell them a whole lot of stuff, and none of the information answered the questions asked. None of them. An RFP is a request for proposal. An RFP is the government's way of saying we have work that we need to hire out for, and we want people to submit their best effort to tell us how you are going to perform this work and at what cost. Now, answer every question. This is not, I say this all the time, and this is going to sound snarky to some, and I don't care if it sounds snarky. This is not a creative writing program. I've seen some proposals. I think some people thought they was in creative writing class. I'll say this again. This is not a creative writing project. The government wants to know, how are you going to, this is an RFP for, I don't know, what was an RFP I saw the other day? You know what? I just saw one for child support collections. Let's go there. They don't want to hear anything about your grandmother being on her deathbed. And you promised her that you was going to be the greatest person in the world. They don't care. How are you going to collect that money? That's all they want to know. What is the efficiency you're going to do it with? This is it. They ask a series of questions and they want you to answer them. I don't know why people think giving the government information they didn't ask for is great. If the government tells you they want you to submit the resume for everybody working on a contract, you told them 10 people are working and you gave them 5 resumes, you automatically non-compliant. They done threw your resume in the non-compliant pile and kept moving. You're not going to win. You could have had a winning proposal, but the fact that you didn't submit all of your resumes told the government you're hiding something. Whether you were or not, told the government you were hiding something. Because why didn't you give them all the resumes? Another thing people do, you don't follow directions. The government told you they wanted their answers and they wanted you to answer them in 15 pages, and you decided that you needed 20. And because you felt you needed 20, you decided to turn in a 20-page proposal. And let me tell you what the government did. They said 15, and the last 5 pages they snatched off and threw away, or, hey, shy, or they just threw your proposal in the non-compliance file. They did one of the 2 things. Follow directions. Now, I don't in the teaching mode, and I ain't even meant to go this way, but I'm a teacher at heart. For those of you who are not going to work with me but need the help anyway, let me give you some help. Follow directions and be on time. If the government says 3 o'clock, at 3:01, you're late. Can I tell you about a time that proposal that I worked on? I literally stayed up all night long, had to talk my sister into driving me to the place. And we drove 2 hours with me finishing up the proposal in the car because somebody on my team was hard-headed and didn't do what they were supposed to do. And I went old school with that hard head. Stopped somewhere, printed off the proposal, did it all up nice and neat. And I got there. I had 10 minutes to turn it in. I signed in because the receptionist wasn't at the desk. Signed in and I sat there. So when she got back from lunch, turned out she was at lunch. She called upstairs. Nobody answered the phone. So I just kept sitting there because I wanted to hand it in. It was 15 minutes after the due time when they finally decided to come downstairs. They were going to reject my proposal because it was late. If I hadn't assigned in the book and 3 other people signed in after me, she attested to the fact that I was there when she got there. They had to accept my proposal. Be on time. Document that you're on time. But that's the only reason they accepted it, because they were in the office. They just didn't answer the phone. But I had to do all that to walking in. But I sat there because I wanted to give it to somebody. Otherwise, my proposal would have been rejected because there was nobody there. But the first person I saw was just leaving on her desk. I was like, oh no, I'll sit here, I'll wait. Because I waited, they accepted my proposal. But you need to be on time. Government contracting, you can't, they say three, they mean three. Because some proposals, they have to do this thing where there's a public opening of the proposals. And that's where they have the proposal team, the department, and some other people present to document that the proposals were received and open to cover themselves in case you mailed it in and it got lost. So everything has to be on time. Another thing this contracting officer talked about was the fact working with small businesses who are so busy getting certified, and certifications are a waste of time unless you're going for the 8A. They're so busy getting certified, they don't work on their back end. And he has to constantly reject invoices because they're improper invoices. Your RFP tells you how to bill the client. So when you were writing the proposal, when you were writing the answer to mail, the RFP tells you how to bill them. So you did no prep work for winning? None? You didn't prepare to win? Government contracting, one of the benefits is it helps you prepare to win. Hello. Does this resonate with anybody? You're preparing to win because in government contracting, your answer is yes and not yet. Because as I told you in the beginning, I stalk the contract. I want you to become stalkers too. Because most large contracts are awarded multi-year, and some contractors mess up. Some contractors, for some reason, the contracting officer just want to hire somebody else. So just because you didn't win it the first time doesn't mean you can't win it again. Honey, stalk. But while you're preparing, prepare to win. Learn how to build. Learn how to read the RFPs. Learn how to talk to your end client, which is the government agency you want to work with, and you don't even bother to learn how to get your money from them. They want to pay you. Find out how they want to pay you and prepare your systems to pay. Some of you don't even take credit cards. The government don't do Cash App. I just want to tell you that the government don't do Cash App. So you need to start setting up some credit ways to receive credit cards. When you walk through Sam asks you, do you accept credit cards for a reason? Because especially if you're working for DOD, DOD does P cards. And DOD pays through P cards up to, the last time I checked was $10,000. I have to check. So yes. So anybody else have any questions before I wrap this up? So yes. The benefits of government contracting, once again, it stabilizes your company. It increases your revenues. And it can help you build a company. You have a product or a service and you want to come out the gate and hit the ground running, the government can be your best client. Now, if you want to work with me, TikTok, it's in my description. Guys online, if you want to sign up for SustainaCore, just scan the QR code that's showing. Or you can just book a session for a consultation. We can get this thing going. We are firmly entrenched in the third quarter of the government fiscal year. And we're getting ready to enter a season that's called low hanging fruit. Now, if you're new to government contracting, this ain't for you. But I'm going to tell you what to do in low hanging fruit season. Bad grammar was intended. If you're fully entrenched and you're not new to government contracting, low hanging fruit season can be the best season in the world because everybody has to spend their money. However, there's a way to make the fruit, the harvest more bountiful with a strategy. So unless anybody have any questions for me, I'm going to wrap up this masterclass with that invitation to work with me. We have the Sustainer Core program, $97 a month, comes with a newsletter, some training programs, monthly Q&A, and I've thrown in some of my other trainings in there, which is like decoding the RFP. Okay. I'm sorry. Otherwise, if you have any questions for me outside of that, you can inbox them to me. I'll respond to them. Other than that, I'm going to let you go so you can get your weekend started and you can have an amazing weekend. And I will see all of you on my live contracting chatter, which is daily at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I stream chatter to YouTube, LinkedIn, and TikTok, and also Facebook. And I discuss all things business and all things government contracting. I go over legislation that's coming through, and there's a lot of new legislation coming through that everybody needs to stay aware of. As business founders, you don't always have time to go look them up. That's my job. I look them up, summarize them, and make you aware of them. If you wish to catch any of the episodes you have missed, they're all on my YouTube channel, LT&A Consulting Group. You can go there and binge watch it over the weekend. My new podcast episode went live today on proposal development, and you can binge my previous episodes. My next episode will be on proposal compliance, which is a service that I do offer. So you write the proposal, I'll come in and make sure it meets the mail. And then from there, I'm doing another episode on my podcast on the 3 types of government contractors. I bet you didn't know there were 3 types of contractors. Which type are you? Because not everybody wants a full-blown government contracting company, and that is okay. Some of you don't have contracting success because you're trying to be something that you're not. So I'm going to help you decide which one you're going to be. That's and with that, have an amazing night. Have a restful weekend. And I will see you on Monday morning.